going on, guys? Brandon Charleston here with another tutorial. It's been quite a while since I've posted, and I apologize because I definitely missed posting here. But we're back, and quite frankly, we've just been busy with operating tables and workflows, and what can I say? Times are great. But yeah, I am back, and here we are. So one of the things I want to talk about is signals. There are signals everywhere. You probably hear about it everywhere on your LinkedIn feed. I mean, signals are just the thing, right? Well, I want to show you a workflow that I did present at the Clay Club Utah, as well as a previous event as well, because I do think it is important to be aware of and what signals you can pull in order to really keep a good pulse on your ICP, especially going to where they exist, where they live, and maybe even give you some ideas on some workflows that you may not have, some data points rather, that you may not think about immediately on to actually get information, right? So in this workflow, in this video, I'm going to show you how I pull in X posts around funding, because let's be real, if I'm a founder, which I am, or if you're a founder, or if you raise a bunch of money and you're like, yeah, Series A, Series B, like, yeah, right? You're definitely gonna post it online, and a lot of people are on X. You know, they just go straight to the source, and it's thriving, right? So I'm going to show you how you can pull in from X, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to tap into Grok, because Grok is not directly integrated at this time in Clay, which is odd to me, but it's definitely one of my favorite LLMs. And at the same time, we are going to show how Grok is actually connected to X, and it even gives you citations, which pulls in additional context for being able to reach out to your ICP and start a conversation, right? We use it in our workflows, and so I'm happy to share how this actually works for here. So what you do is just dive into your Clay instance, right? Your workspace, and then if you just go to signals, you have a number of different signals that you can actually start with. The thing is everything is revolving around triggers and actions. I talk about it all the time. This world has triggers, which actions follow suit. You woke up and you probably were hungry or drink coffee. Your body says, oh, there's a trigger. I need food, right? So the actions are you get food. If you go in your car and you turn on your engine, that was a trigger to start your engine, and then you drive around and do your thing, right? My children have practice here after this video, and so that's a trigger to me saying, Dad, take me to practice, right? So there's always triggers and actions, and this world's always spinning. But the thing is, there's a lot of signals too on what people are doing each and every day. And if you can post your signal around what people are doing, and then you can use AI to reason with that particular signal, you can actually go quite far to really where a lot of your workflows are pretty much 100% automated. It's almost like if you obsessed with somebody and you're like, I want to watch you every day like a creeper, and I'm going to know every move. And if you job change, or if you get promoted, or if you go to my site, I'm going to reach out to you like creeper status, right? So obviously that's a bit too much, but it is possible nowadays, believe it or not. So we're going to dive into here, and you see that we have signals. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into X, and this is a current workflow that I have, and I revised it quite a bit, but really you just set up the login. So you obviously need to log into your X account where you'll be able to pull signals. And then for this area right here, we're setting up keywords and handles, or you can tag somebody on who you want to track. It could be anybody, it could be Elon, could be SpaceX, could be your neighbor. I don't know. Like you do you. So in this one, we just raised seed round, pre-seed, or closed our round, or backed by yada yada yada, Series A, Series B, you know, the common stuff. There's probably a lot of more I can add to here, but for demonstration purposes, you get what I'm talking about. So it's going to look for these particular things, and you can see that I have this set up for weekly, and the cost per result is going to be 1 credit. So this is giving me a roundabout budget of what that looks like. And then you just turn it on. I can do it more if I want. I can do it daily, weekly, quarterly. You set the tempo. This is a trigger on being able to update. So really what it's doing is it is picking up tweets or posts around fundraising, right? Fundraising. And with that, I would just say this, there's a lot of great sources out there, Crunchbase and all the things as far as picking up fundraising. But what better can you do than go to the founder, like where this guy says, my soul needs a Series A, right? So if I were to even go to this post, oh, that's good. Yeah, good work, Brandon. It doesn't even exist anymore. So that was a terrible example. But you could see here, these are all the text of what it is. And to be able to know that you're actually pulling in, this thing just raised 20 million and can't even break 4 million. Vibe. Okay, well, that's something here. But there are definitely some ones in here that I remember seeing before where they are raising a bunch of funds, right? So Temple just raised 5 million, okay? So there's a lot of them in here where you can really take into it. Here's another one. This has to do with Web3, but they raised 17.5 mil. And yeah, I mean, it could be a reason to reach out. I mean, it's an old signal, but it's still a signal, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm confirming. That way I can really make sure that the workflow does not continue if it's not. And I really just did this as a one-off. This is a terrible example of the actual from what I talk about when it comes to RTO. But it's in here. I set this up pretty quickly a long time ago. This definitely can use some revision. But it's really pretty simple. Like, take the tweet, tell me if it's true or false if it's talking about fundraising, right? And you can see based on 4 Mini, I mean, it is just cheap. And so I should probably definitely revise that prompt. So you will see here the next step. So Grok 4, I had this originally on Grok 3, which Grok 3 Mini is super cost effective, but they've since deprecated it, just like a lot of older LLMs, since new ones are coming out all the time. But you'll notice here that I'm using the HTTP API, which is basically keys to the internet. I mean, you could literally plug into anything that has an API, and APIs, I feel like it just clicks, but really, if you think about it, APIs are nothing more than either getting information or sending information between two softwares. And so, yeah, that's really the name of the game here. And what I'm doing here is I'm using the endpoint. It calls for a post, but I'm using Grok, and then this is the body. But if you just simply go to their platform, you go to console.ax.ai, you will see the models that they have here, which is, you just copy this and then you can call that. And then you could see the pricing here, which is actually not that bad, especially like Grok 4 Fast. There's reasoning and non-reasoning. And don't let this fool you, because even though these are the same price, if you use Grok 4 Fast Reasoning or any reasoning model, the hidden part here is that it actually uses reasoning tokens. So if I were to ask a reasoning model to say, hey, do this for me, and it sits there and it thinks some more, and then it gets back to you. But the result is far more likely to be accurate, such as how many R's are in strawberry versus, instantaneously responding to you. That is the difference between reasoning and non-reasoning. And for more reasoning tokens, that is, it actually does cost you. So don't let these two fool you. And that goes for any reasoning model, even GPT-5 Mini, right? That's a reasoning model. And so when you compare those, apples to apples kind of thing, between a reasoning and non-reasoning, that's what that means. So that's why they have these, where this one's going to be a lot quicker. And we'll go from there, which is super interesting that Grok 3 Mini is actually more. So maybe they're really trying to get you using Grok 4. So just, go to console.x.ai, get yourself an API key, and you'll be off to the races. And then what I would do is, let's see here. You want to go to the docs. Where is that at? Tokenizer. Oh, tokenizer is good too. Anyway, you want to go to the docs, and I don't know what to do without exposing my API key. Let's see here. XAI Grok docs. Here we go. This is it. All right, perfect. So you can see right here, the context window is actually quite large. We have 2 million tokens there. That's great. Context window is a whole nother video. But let's keep this on track, Brand, right? So if you go to here, and then you can see, biggest thing we want to do is to do what you call either a bash or a curl request. So we can see right here, this is what it is. And then typically we're going to post all this stuff right here. And then I could just copy it. But you can see where I'm doing a post request or doing the completions endpoint. And then in the body, you can see that we're doing messages, we're doing the user, and then this is actually the prompt right here where I'm saying, provide me the details around handle where they say text. The goal here is to be able to get information regarding any funding rounds as a startup company. If there is more information regarding their funding rounds, output citations and their direct company website. If this is not revolved around a startup funding or the fact that the company is growing, output null and nothing else. Only output null and only null if you believe with high confidence that this post does not speak about raising money for their company. So I did actually filter through this before. So this one I actually put as a second layer just to really see and make sure. But you will see here that when it comes back with the information, we have a nice JSON where you can see the tokens that was utilized here. Then we have the other choices, which is the message. And we can see right here, content. This query appears to reference recent news coverage, likely from a social media post about hypersonics launch systems. It's an Australia-based startup, and they're talking about raising $46 million in Series A, so it is true. We have a lot of information here, right? The cool thing is that it also gives you citations. So if I were to go here and see, boom, like this is it, and this is today as of this recording. So I mean, you have a number of different citations that are all valid resources, and you even have more X posts around everything here. So you can see that there's a lot of related posts here that talks about all the same things. Hypersonic, there it is. Ooh, 60 million Air Force. Go Air Force. Still serving. Yo. And then there's other ones here, right? So we have X posts, we have verified sources, we have the actual tweet. Like, this is good stuff, right? And it's right from the horse's mouth. I mean, there's no third-party data here. This is directly from it. And then what I'll do is I go to the founder, right? So where I'm using 4.1 mini in this case. And I'm saying the role, the expert, the task, and then we're sitting here and we are rolling out the task and we're providing context. We're doing the user, okay? And then we're doing the citations, output format, everything right here. So from here, pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do is we're finding the founders and we are saying, okay, these are Michael Smart and David Waterhouse. Sorry to put you on the spot, founders, but we have here all of the information when it comes to finding the founders, right? So same one with this one. So just in this very same table, I was able to pull an X post signal at the right time. I could use Grok to find who the founders are, get some context and citations. And then from here, I'm pulling in that information, and with very high confidence, I'm getting the company URL and I'm getting the founders' names, right? And then from here, I'm determining, of course, if they're B2B or B2C. I'm getting a company overview around the entire organization as well. We have expert growth, mission analyst. You're an expert, okay? What you must do. If you notice, some of the things that I like to do, I talk about RTO, which is role, task, output. I always do the role, the task, and then the output. That's the biggest thing here, right? So what we want to do is we're going to, from there, we're writing it to another table. I used NAN as a workaround, and I am writing it to a different table. And then from here, we are doing simple automations, right? So I'm checking the URL to make sure it's valid. And then we are pulling in all the context here, which this is it. We just raised Series B, all good stuff, right? And then from here, we are pulling in their LinkedIn. Okay, so I was able to connect their LinkedIn from their X post just by using Clagent there. And then you could see here, this is the CEO and founder. And then from here, we are using full enrich for this particular one. I need to have this obviously narrow for obvious reasons. But for this case, we are using full enrich. Now, one of the reasons we use full enrich quite heavily is because it's something we use in N8N as well. And it's a waterfall enrichment, meaning that, you get basically emails. You just do one enrichment, let it rip. That way, it all pretty much works the same as far as if this, then that, where you find one provider, move to the next, move to the next, move to the next. So full enriched has worked well for us. We use it quite often. And so basically it is a way for us to use one particular enrichment like Wizza and then Datagma, Hunter, things like that, and for a pretty good affordable price, and it works well for us. So that's why we keep using it. So with that said, we basically go into here, we use our full enrich key, you plug in the full name, the organization, and then we go from there, right? So full enrich is one of the vital pieces here, obviously getting their emails, since I'm trying to reach out to them through email. The next thing here, we have normalized first name. The normalized first name is one of those things that, if you have Rocket Ship Johnny, or you have that has a nickname or something like that. This is allow us to normalize the first name. So that way, when you reach out to somebody, you're not saying, hey, Rocket Ship Jonathan the Third. You're saying, hey, John, whatever you want to do. So this is basically a simple prompt where you're based on the input name below, output a normalized first name, ensuring it is properly formatted. Very closely analyze the name and ensure it sounds great, right? And then we're going to verify the email. In this case, we used instantly. So pretty straightforward. We want to make sure that we are double verifying there because we want to make sure it's all good there. And then don't mind this. This is really interesting. There's a rate limit issue here. Oh, gotta love that. Okay. Anyhow, what we want to do is we're adding it to Hey Reach. Okay, so I need to double check. Maybe I rotated my API key. And so we're going to add it to Hey Reach, and then we're just going to want to connect with them, right? And then from here, we are actually generating a SendSpark video for the second step in our sequence, just to put a name to the face, say, hey, watermelon. And we put a little bit more personality behind videos, right? Or behind their message. And then finally, we are adding to a instantly campaign where we can send our emails, right? So in this case, we took signal from X posts from the horse's mouth. We were able to go through the entire thing here by finding the LinkedIn and the founders, right? And then we're going through a workflow here of validating their URL to make sure it's still alive and well. Therefore, conditional logic says that we're going to save credits, right? And then we are enriching the person through their LinkedIn. We are verifying an email through full enrich. We're normalizing their first name to make sure it sounds human. We're verifying their email. Once again, we add them to a LinkedIn campaign through Hey Reach. And then we'll generate a video just because we want to put a little bit more personality to it. It's always cool to have a name to the face with SendSpark. And then we're finally sending an email outbound campaign, right? To hopefully start a conversation. So with that said, pretty much that's how you do signals. In my opinion, this is taking X, using Grok, using the citations around Grok because it has connections to X, and then we're doing an outbound sequence from there. So anyway, hopefully it was short and sweet to the point. I really appreciate you guys watching up to this. Feel free to reach out if you need some assistance there. If you'd like to work with us, please as well reach out as well. Always open the door on that one. I love working with folks just like yourself, and all the things. It's a very small world, small pond, but at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to make, food for their kids and, all that stuff. So with that said, I don't want to be late to my kids' practice, so I need to zip on out. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.